Welcome to the first ever Alumni Volunteer Virtual Summit. I am really glad that you are joining us today, and to all of my friends, welcome. And to those I have not yet met, I'm Danielle Young. I'm the Executive Director of the Alumni Association, and I'm so glad you are joining us today. We're very excited about this approach. We've never tried this before, and I wanted to share a little bit of why we are doing this year. So volunteers are very critical to all we do for Oberlin. Whether you are a volunteer who helps with programming, with reaching out to your classmates for various engagement efforts, or in fundraising, it's really important for you to have that connection to the college and to know how much we value you and what you do for us. So we have been trying to figure out how to serve more of you and to make volunteering as easy for you as possible. And we have heard over the years that for many of you it's difficult to come back to campus. And last year, actually, we had about 18% of those volunteers who were invited actually make it back to campus for programming. So we have listened to you and your desire for more online materials and information. And so we are trying this new approach, and we'll see how it goes. We'll look forward to hearing your feedback when it is over. But I also want to share that this virtual summit is not only for all of you who may not be able to come back due to your own personal commitments or the distance that you might have to travel, but we are also trying something a little different with our reunion planning weekend. We are having an on-campus weekend, September 15th through 17th, geared to those alums who are planning their next reunion. So the classes that are celebrating in May of 2018 and the class of 1969 is already gearing up for their reunion. They will be coming back to campus. And we have some goals for that weekend that are a little different this time. We are trying to really expand the number of reunion volunteers that we have. So we would like those reunion committees to get larger, more diverse, include a lot of different perspectives and experiences from time on campus. And we are also hoping to spend more time talking about what reunions can look like, how it'll be interesting to all of your classmates. So what traditional aspects do we want to retain, and what new things would we like to incorporate, including more intergenerational connections. So we're excited to bring those volunteers back to campus and spend more time really thinking about Commencement Reunion Weekend in partnership with them and all of you. And try to expand and improve that experience and get a lot more of your classmates back to campus for reunions. So we're trying to do a lot of new things, and we thank you for your patience and your willingness to help us as we try some new approaches. But we want you primarily to know how important you are to us, how much we value all that you do with us, and we look forward to connecting with you virtually and definitely in person as soon as we possibly can. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy all of the programming that we are providing through the summit. There are going to be connections with students. I know that that's always very important. Some performances. Obviously, hearing from President Ambar is really important. I think you will really enjoy what she has to say. And then you will also be hearing from the officers of the Alumni Association. I'm glad they could be a part of this as well. So thank you, and please do provide your feedback. We hope to continue to improve how we're providing information for you and connecting you in the important work you do for us. So thank you, and we'll be in touch soon.
Hi there, my name is Lori Oberlin, and I am a member of the class of 1987 and president of the Alumni Association. I'm also the proud parent of a rising sophomore who's in the class of 2020. This virtual summit is an effort to present to you in your own home, Oberlin College, so that you do not have to be here, but we're trying to bring Oberlin to you. This is something that we've heard from alumni that they wanted access to information, and here it is. You've got it. We hope it works, and we hope it's really successful for you. We hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. Thanks.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the virtual Alumni Volunteer Summit student panel. We are a diverse group of students with different interests, majors, concentrations, and whatnot, and we're so happy to be here today. I'll start by introducing myself and then my friends up here can tell you a little about themselves as well. So my name is Cameron Dunbar. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I major in politics with a minor in rhetoric and composition and a concentration in peace and conflict studies. I have the pleasure of serving as the student representative on the Alumni Leadership Council, representing the class of 2019. So Juan?
Hello, I'm Juan Contreras. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I'm a third year. I use he, him, his. I study biology and environmental studies, and I minor in Jewish studies and French.
Hi, my name is Meg Parker. I am a third year as well. I use she, her. I'm a double major in history and politics with a double minor in gender, sexuality, and feminist studies and comparative American studies.
Hi, my name is Nick Arandro-Rivello. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I use he, him, or they, them pronouns. And I'm a fourth year vocal performance major in the conservatory.
Awesome. So one of the great parts about this panel is that the questions we'll be answering were crowdsourced from alumni, and so we'll just jump right into them. So the first question for everyone is, think one person can change the world.
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
So I actually have a sort of a problem with that. Although one person can change the world, I think it takes a strong support network of a group of people to make substantial long-term change, especially at an institution that is as broad as Oberlin, and thinking structurally at the society in which we're all existing in. One person can make an influence, but I think change is bigger than a quote or a couple of protests. It's a lot of times about thinking about systems and how we can work together to achieve that change, because we're all coming to that possibility with different perspectives and experiences.
Yeah, I actually really like this quote a lot. I have it on a t-shirt, on an Oberlin shirt, and I totally get the idea that, to make great change is really a community effort, right? But I think the one great part about this quote, think one person can change the world, is that I think it empowers the individual, and it gives us a sense of agency to do our will and to do well. And so, when I think one person can change the world, it means that one person can make a difference. And I think when people lose sight of that is when they become discouraged. So I agree with Meg, but I also really love the quote. Mm-hmm. So I guess we can move on to our next question. Juan?
Sure. What is the difference you want to make in the world? I can start. So I care a lot about the environment and I guess life and stuff like that. I'm really into science. This past summer, I spent a lot of time in Puerto Rico working with bats. And I think my goal, or what I'd like to do in helping the world, would be working with diseases and trying to help communities that don't have a lot of access to resources to combat diseases. And I think personally I want to work on it in a nature level, go out in the forest and try to figure things out and see what good I can do. But yeah.
I think for me, coming in as a conservatory student, I came in very hyper-focused and one-track minded on what I wanted in life, and that was to be, one of the best opera singers in the world. But I think in my tenure here at Oberlin, that has since changed, because I see that, for me, this career path was a little too self-serving to just be doing this. And so I think that definitely I want to reach a point in life where I have enough capital to assist those who marginalized people as well. And help people who not necessarily had the same opportunities that I had coming here. But yeah.
I think if there's one difference I really want to make, it's to be able to give a voice to people who often aren't allowed to speak or who don't have their voices amplified commonly. I think that's part of the reason I joined The Grape as a staff writer, because I like the idea of working for an alternative student publication. But I think the alternative part kicks in the idea of giving space to groups and orgs and causes that you might not even see in the review, or you might not see in other commonly accepted or commonly read publications. And so I don't know if that will take form in the form of being a journalist, or working in communications, or working in policy, which I'm also interested in, but I really want to help amplify the voices of others.
I agree.
So I'm from Portland, Maine, which, as you may or may not know, is the largest city in my state. And I spent one of my winter terms interning for my congresswoman in DC, another one of my winter terms interning with United Way in Greater Portland. And I think that I can do the most good in Maine, in my home state. There's a lot of things that we're facing that are a microcosm of this country, like immigration, race relations, healthcare, the opioid crisis. And I think that I'm currently on the track to use my Oberlin education to help people in my state who are often overlooked or disenfranchised in a wide sense of that term. There's a lot we can do to help the economy in Maine and a lot of potential, but a lot of times ideas don't leave Maine or come from out of state. So I'm using this opportunity to spend 4 years outside of Maine to learn different ideas and hear new perspectives and return that to Maine and the people that are living there who mean the most to me.
So we're excited to have another student join us, especially our current Student Senate Chair, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Thanks, Kim. My name is Tobe Akamnisi. I'm a fourth-year politics major with an international studies concentration and a rhetoric and composition minor. I'm from South Africa originally, and I'm really excited to be here. I'm currently the chair of Senate, as Kim just said, and I just work on campus a lot with education outreach programs.
Awesome. So I think, Nick, you had a question for us?
Yes, I did. So my question is, what's one thing that gives you hope? And I'd have to say the future gives me a lot of hope, especially being here at Oberlin and seeing who's going to be growing up with me and coming up into this world, who's going to be the next generation that's going to be influencing change. I think the great thing about a lot of Oberlin students is the passion that you see in their hearts and their minds and their eyes, and like the vigor in which they believe in what they believe in and how much they'll fight for what they believe in. And, you know, millennials get a lot of flack for being lazy and entitled, you know, buying $6 coffees and avocado toast. Avocado toast. But I think it's much bigger than that. The era of complacency is over, and I think our generation is a generation of game changers, I believe. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think one thing that gives me hope is knowing that, like, I'm in this fight, in this drive with other people, and folks, my friends, my mom, my family, all sorts of people I meet really empower me to be my best self and to just know that, like, I have a support network and that there are other people who care about these issues. Like you said, Nick, like we are the generation that wants to make change just as other generations have, and, you know, we're still working that out, and it's messy and it's imperfect, and sometimes, you know, we end up in the New Yorker about it, but we're still committed, and we, at the end of the day, we just want what's best for our world and for our communities and for all people to really be successful and thrive.
I mean, I would follow up and bounce off on both of that because I agree with that. I think another thing that gives me hope is seeing people try, because we do get a lot of flack for not being good enough or for not trying enough or for not caring enough about non-trivial things as millennials. But I see all my peers all the time just strive to make the world more just. Every day I see people try. And that gives me so much hope because I've seen Oberlin alumni, and I know that it gets better after here. So I know that the trying gets us somewhere, and that gives me a lot of hope.
Did you want to answer that?
Yeah, I was going to give a dual answer. Something trivial is I actually really get hope from looking at pictures of dogs. It kind of just like makes me feel better, thinking about puppies and like cute things. Because some days are going to be really hard, and sometimes you wake up and your first thought is, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this today, or that just happened last night. This healthcare bill, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to our country? But, you know, thinking about the little things that can make you smile sort of gives me hope, because if you can find positivity on days that don't seem like they're the best, then that's a sense of small hope in itself. And also thinking on a deeper level, this is a minute sliver of what our generation will be and where we're headed. And if these 5 students are the future of my generation, then I can feel hopeful. Knowing that there's people in this world that care as much as I do, and are not going to give up, as Tobecco was saying, about just trying, makes me feel hopeful.
I think not as cute as puppies, but first years, I think, give me a lot of hope. A lot of us have been working really closely with the new Peer Advising Leaders program at Oberlin that's aimed to kind of assist first years in their transition and have like a group of people they feel comfortable working with. And I think just seeing the first years engaging with each other and kind of open to new ideas and open to new experiences has really pushed me, because I feel as I do my things here at Oberlin, sometimes stress gets to me and it can really pull you down. And I think the younger people at this school are always the ones that like remind me of what made me so engaged in the first place and what made me happy.
Wow. So similarly to that, what have you found at Oberlin that is different than what you expected?
Expected about Oberlin?
Yes. I mean, I can start. For me, it's really simple. Everything closes super early in town, and I just was not prepared for that. I come from Detroit, and, you know, it's a major city, so we have things that are open late night, 24/7. You can go out after, like, 11 p.m. and find lots of things to do, which you can do here, but I just was not expecting, like, all the restaurants, kind of all the shops to be done at midnight. But that's a small thing.
I didn't realize how fickle the weather was. Like today, I woke up and I like wore this outfit and these like leather sandals because I was like, it's a beautiful day outside. And then I'm in class and I look outside and I'm like, oh, it's raining right now. Oh, okay, cool. And yeah, the weather changes every 5 minutes in Ohio, but I kind of like it though because nothing ever stays exactly the same. But yeah.
I mean, I'm an international student, so everything was new to me and everything was surprising, but also not surprising because I didn't have anything that I was expecting when I came in. I was just open to experiencing it all. Mm-hmm. But I think the one thing that did surprise me was how not cold it is, because everybody hyped me up for the cold because I'm from South Africa in a really, really warm part of the country. So from like the beginning of my junior year when I said I was going to apply to Oberlin, like that's all everyone would talk to me about, like how I have to prepare myself for the cold. So I really hyped myself up and I got here and I was like, I was really disappointed my first winter. It wasn't enough snow and it wasn't cold enough and I was just like, why?
Should go to Chicago. Cold.
Oh, I didn't realize how flat it was going to be either.
It's super
It's
flat.
super
So
flat.
flat.
It's so flat. You can like look out for miles and see things. Yeah, and I was like, and when it snows a lot here too, and I was like, I would love to go sledding, but you know,
No.
we could
Well,
we could go the Oberlin Hill. And
Not Oberlin, yeah. I was also surprised by how flat it is. So as I said, I'm from Maine, and we have like really dramatic mountains, and we have the highest mountain peak on a shoreline anywhere on the eastern seaboard of the Americas outside of Brazil. So I was really surprised by how flat it was. And I visited, but I didn't really think about it that much when I was here for a couple of days, which was shocking to me, but also beneficial when I wanted to start long distance running. For fun, because there's no hills and I can just keep going for miles, which was helpful as I was building that endurance. The reason I actually started long distance running is because I'm a student athlete here at Oberlin. And that was something that I was expecting, but some of the terms of what it means to be a student athlete still surprised me despite the recruiting process. We're currently going through, I would say, a new era in the athletic department right now. There's a lot of things that are changing and it's becoming a little bit more rigorous, which I think is beneficial because we're recruiting a wide array of different student athletes at Oberlin, and we're investing in having good coaches and people who really know what they're talking about for their sport, which is a new learning opportunity. And I have gotten so much stronger, both physically and mentally, through this athletics program that I'm really grateful for, which I really wasn't expecting. I was kind of coming in thinking, oh, I play field hockey here and there. You know, I played club in high school, but now I'm playing every single day. I have a strength and conditioning coach. I'm learning more about myself and my body than I ever imagined. And yes, it is hard, and but I'm in a place of fitness that I never imagined was possible for me.
I do think one of the academic surprises that I had, which is also a really pleasant surprise, was seeing how available the faculty is to students. I spent a semester at UCSB. I think we've spoken about this with some of you before I came here. And UCSB is, I mean, it's a very different institution from Oberlin. It has like over 25,000 students, I think. And so the style of teaching is very different from here. And the undergraduate program is not always prioritized. So faculty usually isn't available as much to undergrad students because they focus mainly on their graduate programs, which makes sense, but it is quite unfortunate. So when I was used to that, and it sort of worked for the time that I was there, and then I got here and I'm just like, so you mean like I can come to your office hours? Like I don't have to set up an appointment to come to office hours? Because there were some of my professors there who just didn't have office hours open to their undergrad students at all. You like had to have a really good reason to request office hours. So, and I mean, I really jumped on that and I used that. I go to office hours to at least one of my professor's office hours every week, and I've just had that as a rule for my first year because that's something that's incredibly amazing to me that we have available to us.
I think I was surprised by, I think coming in, I didn't expect the school to have a lot of things going on. I thought I was going to be studying, sleeping, and just doing that thing. I think mainly because that's how my brother was in college. But this past year, I worked with La Alianza Latinx as a secretary, and I would compile the weekly newsletter. And sometimes the newsletter would take me hours because there's just so many events that you would put on there. And I think that's really a really, really awesome thing about Oberlin is that every single day there's something you can do and something you can learn about, both like through visiting like professors, faculty, or community events, stuff like that.
Nick, did you have another question for us?
No.
But I do.
Yeah.
I do.
It does.
So have you changed your mind about something because of your experiences at Oberlin, in class or otherwise? What was it and why?
That's a good question.
I think for me, I changed my mind a lot about myself and how I viewed myself because of my experiences at Oberlin. In high school, things came pretty easily. I didn't have to try very hard to get good enough grades. If I wanted to get an A+, it was a little bit more effort, but a B+ to an A was something that came naturally to me. But my first semester, I took a class that was really outside of my comfort zone, and I didn't do well. That was the first time I had taken a class, like a math class, that I didn't do well in. So for me, I had to think about who I was as a student and what I valued. I also took a Russian class that semester that was also a lot harder than I was sort of anticipating. And I got a tutor for the first time. I had never had a tutor in any of my classes before. And I had to reconcile that fact that there are some things that aren't going to come as naturally to everybody. But I built a relationship with this tutor that still exists to this day. Her name is Sarah. And I learned so much from her, both about Russian and being a student in college, that I'm incredibly grateful for. And I also took a class that semester called Peace and Conflict Studies, which is how I met Cameron, actually.
We weren't even really friends then, though. That's the funny part.
I know. We didn't become friends until second semester.
I can't imagine the two of you not being friends. That just doesn't make sense to me.
And that class was something that I was much more comfortable with, and it's really what convinced me that being a politics major was the right track. I had sort of come in being like, I'm a politics major, but after taking a politics class, I was like, I'm a politics major. Like, this is who I am. This is what I like to do. This is what feels natural to me. So I guess academically, my first semester was an experience that sort of helped me think about myself as a student, and learn some lessons that were tough but valuable.
So have I changed my mind about anything at or because of Oberlin? I think when I got here, I changed my mind, or rather, I learned how to depend on other people and how to like work well in teams. So a little background: I'm an only child, and my friends tell me I have the persona of an only child, whatever that means.
It's true. It's true.
Meg is also an only child, but so I've always kind of like been on my own in a sense. Not that I like do everything on my own, but I've pretty much been of the mindset of like, I can do whatever I put my mind to, and haven't always included like other people in that journey. So when I got to Oberlin, I took Intro to International Politics with Eve Sandberg, and right off the bat, she was like, you're going to have several group projects because in the real world you work in groups, and so we're going to prep you for that. And in my head I'm like, oh boy, group projects, like we know how those go. But throughout the duration of the course I engaged in those projects, and it was a really valuable experience for me because I learned that, like, one, bringing my ego down, like there are other competent people in the world who can do the things that you do and who can assist you in doing the things you want to do. And kind of like our question earlier, like, do you think one person can change the world? One person can go far, but many people can go even further. And so being able to rely on people in classes or on Student Senate for various things, or in different departments or in different clubs, and being able to delegate tasks and to expect things from other people and have those expectations filled and really exceed it has been a valuable part of my learning experience here, and something I've changed on a lot.
That's really cool. And that is something that I've learned here too. And I think the principal thing that I've changed my mind on is my view of what a social justice activist looks like. I came from a high school that really prides itself in developing leaders who are going to change the world. So coming to Oberlin and having our mission be think one person can change the world was just like a natural bounce off place from something that I had grown up with, always thinking, like waking up every morning thinking, how do I make the world a better place today? And that's very, very helpful, but also it does put you in a really crazy and unproductive place where you think, okay, so we'll wake up today and we'll end poverty and we'll establish world peace and we'll end the patriarchy, and where's the game plan? And you can't do any of that. You can't do all of that because that's not one person's job, but also even as a collective, that's going to be really hard, like all of the ideals that we strive for will take a long, long time to establish, and we have to strive towards that every day. But also recognizing that it's not going to be easy means that you have to recognize that you can't do it on your own, and that you can't do every piece of the puzzle. So it's okay to find your place in the fight towards social justice and do that and stick with that. Like if you're passionate about education, it's okay to just stick with that and become an expert in that. And I mean, that took a long time for me to become comfortable with, because I just always felt like I had to do so much more. Just the guilt of knowing, and not even guilt, just feeling a social responsibility to trying everything. And I know now that that's not the most productive way of doing it, but also it's okay to not have to be everything.
I think Oberlin has changed my mind about what it means to like ask for help, and to seek help, similar to what you were speaking about. I think we get stretched really thin here, and I think while growing up, I never really was a person to talk about my feelings or talk about how I'm doing or what I need from other people. It's more of like you deal with it and you keep moving forward and like keep pushing forward. But I think Oberlin really stresses like supporting each other in whatever space you're in. People don't ask you if you're okay. They ask you how you're doing. They ask you what they can do to help you if you need help. And I think that's one thing Oberlin has really like helped me work on.
I have a question. So when you all look back at your time at Oberlin in future, what do you want to remember, and what do you want to have been a part of that hasn't yet been?
Sorry, what was the last?
What do you want to have been a part of that hasn't yet been?
Oh, okay.
Well, I know when I look back on my time, I really want to remember and think fondly of the relationships I built, whether that be with students, current students, or with alumni I met at during my time at Oberlin, or just various members of the Oberlin community. I think I've built so many strong relationships and just been able to meet so many incredible people that are doing incredible things and that have incredible dreams and passions and desires. And my big hope is that once I move forward out into the world, right, that I don't forget about them, but I also don't lose what they gave me, the hope that they gave me, and the passion and the like the desire to be my best self. And so I really appreciate what everybody here has given to me and just being able to spend time with other folks here.
I mean, I have so much I want to remember, but all of it centers around people also and relationships. Like, I want to remember panels like this where I'm reminded just how wonderful my peers are. And I want to remember the late nights we have in Azarias and Mud trying to figure out how to solve like campus conflicts that we have, or the late nights after a very long student senate meeting and all of you are drained, but you're all still there because you believe in what you're doing. And you know, even though it sucks right now, there's a purpose to it and it can do good. Or sometimes you just have classes that go beyond what could possibly be put on the syllabus, and you find yourself all supporting each other or discussing an idea that a student came up with to find a way to make it something real and something big. And your professors supporting that. Like, that's what I want to remember. I want to remember the office hours that I've had that went for like 5 hours. That's actually happened more than once, literally. Because those are the things that remind me why I'm here, and that keep me going, and also that inspire me to be so much more even after I leave Oberlin.
I also want to remember my relationships here at Oberlin, whether it be the people that I am on Senate with. And we spend a lot of time together, for better or for worse. We fight a lot just because we have different approaches to solving the same problem. But the fact that we can come into that room and be like, okay, this is my idea. This is what I really want to do. This is what we should do. And someone else saying, well, wait, what about this? And then working through that builds those relationships and those connections in a way that is so valuable, both to who you are as a person and how you can collaborate, but also to the work at hand and how you can make change. Also, the relationships that I build on my field hockey team are so important and will be what I remember the most, because I'm with them for 2 hours every single day, not including meals, not including team bonding, not including travel, and all the time just kind of piles up. And this isn't true for every sports team at Oberlin or for every team in the NCAC or Division III, but my field hockey team is built purely on the foundation of love. We wake up every single day with the same thought in our head of, I love these people, I love this team. We don't win every game. You can check Go-Yo to see our record. It's not fabulous, but I don't care, because the people that I'm doing it with are more important. A win is not a bad thing. I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying I'm complacent towards losing, but I care more about having a family here at Oberlin and having these people around me than I do about, if we're 19-0 that year.
All right, I have a question. It's, how do you engage constructively with an individual who fundamentally disagrees with one of your deeply held beliefs?
That is a hard question, I have to say, but I think it first starts out with approaching it with a sense of genuineness and an open mind as well, because here at Oberlin, like, a lot of people do believe the same things, but you will come across people who don't, and it can be very frustrating and tiring to have conversations with people who sometimes believe things that might diminish your entire existence, which does happen. And some people don't see it that way because they weren't conditioned to see things that certain way. And so I think that just approaching it with an open heart and open mind, and be willing to listen to them and engage with them and have constructive dialogue with them, I think really helps.
I agree. And I think we often think about that person as like a them, like as someone that we don't really know. But I've gotten into huge arguments with people that I'm very, very close with about things that we both have very, very different views on. But I think I think the outcome should be to learn. It shouldn't be like to teach. It should be that we're both learning and engaging in this conversation, because obviously we both really care about it, and it's like important to hear the other side always. I don't really think it's like black and white, and I think just being willing to engage with a person like that, with a friend like that, is good.
I I think one of the greatest things I've gotten from the Peace and Conflict Studies concentration is just understanding that conflict is opportunity. Both Nick and Juan both kind of mentions the word engage, and I think that what it comes down to is an engagement between different ideas and different opinions and different thoughts. And while, as Juan said, we do disagree a lot on some things, I think just understanding that that conflict in itself is an opportunity to learn, or is an opportunity to learn about someone else's views, or to even strengthen your own, and to understand what you believe a little bit more. And so, like Nick said, there's no easy answer, and I don't even think there's a blanket answer. I kind of happen on a case-by-case basis, because there are some ideas that kind of will diminish your entire identity, or kind of invalidate you as a person. And there are some things that I'm genuinely non-negotiable on, and being able to navigate that is important. But understanding that that conflict in itself is an opportunity is where I start.
To go off of that, and I agree with what all of you are saying. I think the most important thing for me, and what's helped me have more productive dialogue with people who are fundamentally very different from me ideologically, is firstly seeing them as people and not the ideas they hold. So not seeing someone as a liberal or a conservative or a leftist or a Republican or Democrat or anything like that, but seeing them as people who have interest in self-preservation. And in trying to figure out why they hold the belief that they do, allowing yourself to understand their primary interest in having that belief. So is this something that feels like an identity thing for them? Like, is this something that feels like changing this belief will diminish who they think they are or who they've been brought up to be? And I mean, a lot of the time I've found that people who hold the most, in my opinion, absurd beliefs have really good reasons for doing that. Like, if that feels like a self-preservation strategy for you, that's an interest that I can understand, even if I may disagree with the way that you're going about establishing that self-preservation. And that's something that we can agree upon. So trying to find like underlying interests in holding the beliefs that we can both agree upon, and trying to negotiate on those interests. So I mean, one of my politics professors, my first year, Dawson, amazing man, he literally changed my life, and he's the reason why I'm a politics major. But he used to teach us that when you're negotiating, like, it's always important to understand what the primary interests of the negotiator are and what they are not willing to compromise on. And usually it's not really like a specific idea that usually sparks the conflicts, but there's something else underlying that idea, and really trying to find those things that lead people to the beliefs that they hold is so important. And that's usually the only way that I've been able to influence people in fundamental beliefs that they've held, or being influenced by people. So people who make that effort to understand my underlying interest in the things that I believe and hold.
Is there a last question?
Yeah, so we have time for one more question, and I think Toby has a good one. So what do we have?
So how can we, I think that's the alumni. I'm going to be the alumni. How can we help you? How can the alumni help us in all the things that we're trying to establish here?
Do you want to go?
No, I was just trying to understand the question, but I understand it now. But I guess like being available to help, being available and being a resource to all the students, whether we're still at Oberlin, attending Oberlin or post-grad, I think, because it is a daunting prospect, graduating school and not knowing exactly what you want to do. At least for me, as a fourth year, like, I don't know exactly what I want to do next year, but I think that having options open and having people who can perhaps help me and help me decide what it is that I really want to do, I think would be amazing.
I think the obvious answer is if you can hook us up with a job, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But also, I would say that, like, don't lose faith in us, kind of, that you went through this whole process too. You were at Oberlin and you know how it is. It can be hard, but I think just continuing to, or making an effort to make relationships with us during our time here, and it can be just emailing us for a conversation, just kind of engaging with us and sharing what you've learned here and what you've been learning, because, you know, you finish school, but you're not done learning. You're still living your life, I think is a big one.
I think I even have two things kind of along similar lines to that. The first one is, like, don't talk about us. help us. It can be so easy, like when the Daily Caller is putting out an article about wild Oberlin students, right? You're like, these kids nowadays, when I was at Oberlin, we didn't do this, this, and that. And I'm like, well, that was also a long time ago, and things are different now, and we have different concerns, and things just operate differently. But even going beyond that, seeing what, the news reports or the media may say, seeing that and then asking, well, what's really happening? Because there are Oberlin students, we love to talk, who would be happy to explain to you some of the conflicts that are happening on campus, some of the issues, and to really offer clarity to those, because they're not often portrayed correctly. And so just giving us the opportunity to explain ourselves and to help us with that would be great. And then the second thing is, and this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, is that OBs do a lot well, but one thing I don't think we do well enough is celebrate ourselves and what we do and our accomplishments and what we're here to do and how we go about the world. And so I think helping us celebrate ourselves, because there are Oberlin alums all across the world doing amazing things, trying to make the world a better place, trying to change the world one person at a time. And I think a lot of us are doing that here, and just having a support network of people who are acknowledging what we're doing and kind of encouraging us to go forward would be super helpful, besides jobs.
I want to double down on everything that everyone was saying. I mean, those jobs and internships are great, but also be available to us as mentors. Be available because we share a lot of the same passions, because the things that drive a lot of OBs are found haven't changed over time. Like the way that we go about doing them is different, but it's still the same thing. A lot of the time, people are just striving for social justice in whatever form that is. So be available to us as mentors in the things that we're doing, and help us provide resources if you can, but also provide your time. Just being available to us, I think, will be the most helpful thing. And I'm saying that because I have experienced alumni being available to me, and that has made all the difference in my Oberlin time. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I've had internship opportunities. My winter terms have been enhanced so much more by alumni making themselves available to me. But do that for more students. Students shouldn't have to work too hard to access the alumni network. It's something that should be open to us.
My answer is that we're all Oberlin students, right? So we're currently enrolled at Oberlin, but you're an Oberlin student too, right? It's the collective we. And this network that is being built of people who attended Oberlin or graduated from Oberlin, love Oberlin, is built because of times like this and classes you took here, extracurriculars that you were involved in, the relationships that you built while you were on campus, but also off campus. And we're just entering into this network, as in the 5 of us and the 3,000 other students who are on campus right now. And we're entering this world that is really rocky, and our political climate is kind of unstable. And for some of us, it's terrifying what could happen right now. And it's easy to say, oh, well, they're just whiny young kids, blah, blah, blah. But we're not, There are issues that we're facing that you're facing too. And there's a reason that we all picked Oberlin. It wasn't some day where you sat and picked a name out of a hat and thought to yourself, okay, I'm going to go to this school. Most of us, it was an intentional purpose to come here and get an education at this institution. So think about why you're a part of the alumni network and why you picked Oberlin, because oftentimes it's the same for all of us. And we want to do the things that you're doing, and you inspire us to and can show us what's possible. And sometimes we don't know what you're doing or all the things that you've accomplished because we don't have a connection or a step in the front door. So making yourself available to all of us so that we can hear your stories and think about what's possible for us shows us that it's going to be okay and that the world that we're entering into wants us to be there.
Thank you, Meg. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in, essentially for taking the time to listen to us today. And also thank you for your participation in the virtual Alumni Volunteer Summit.
Hello everyone, my name is Balan Gergely. I'm the Secretary of the Alumni Association, Class of 2000. I'm here in Oberlin, all the way from Paris, which is home. Oberlin brings me back here so that I can feel the excitement, have the engagements, and keep learning from Oberlin like I have 15 years ago. I wanted to make sure that you're using the interactive tools today in this virtual summit so you can feel the same excitement and the Oberlin spirit right back at home. And don't forget, keep engaged with us, interact with students, with faculty, come to regional events. We're waiting for you, and also come back to campus whenever you can.
Hi, I'm Tempe, she, her, hers. I'm a biology major, 3rd year, and I was born in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Hi, I'm Miranda. I use she, her, hers. I'm a 2nd year. I'm an intended English and creative writing double major, and I'm from Long Island, New York.
Hi, I'm Emma. I use she, her, hers. I'm a 2nd year intended English and musical studies major, and I'm from Toronto, Canada.
Hi, I'm Talia. I use she, her, hers. I'm a 2nd year theater major. I live outside of Boston, and I work for the Alumni Association.
Hi, I'm Kira. I use she, her, hers, and they, them, theirs. I'm a 3rd year comparative American studies major from Northern California.
Hi, my name is Paige. I use she, her, hers. I'm a 3rd year theater major from the Chicago area.
Hi, we're the Acapelicans.
2, 1.
Okay.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen. Give him 2 lips like roses and clover, and tell him that his lonely nights are over. Sandman, I'm so alone, don't have nobody to call my own. Please turn on your magic beam. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen. Give him the
Hello everyone, my name is Bill Barlow. It's my pleasure to be the Vice President for Development and Alumni Affairs here at Oberlin College. It's also a pleasure to be part of the first ever virtual Alumni Volunteer Summit, and I want to thank you for taking the time to be part of this event. I'm in my 9th year at Oberlin College, and over that time I've been able to get to know a lot of volunteers, people who expend their time and effort on behalf of the college. And I just want to start by thanking you for all that you do, for your service, your generosity, your commitment to Oberlin, and for the vital role you play in helping us help to fulfill the mission of the college and the conservatory. I just wanted to talk to you about some of the things that are going on at Oberlin in the world of development and alumni affairs. I think, as you know, we're involved in a number of transitions right now. The first and most important, of course, is the arrival of our next president, Carmen Ambar, and we're very excited about that. But that's not the only transition that's going on. We actually have a new board chair, Chris Canavan from the class of '84, who started on July 1st. Chris has been on the board since 2012. He's a special advisor to George Soros in New York City. He's a parent of an OB. His son Nicholas graduated this past May. I've had the pleasure of working with Chris from before the time he joined the board. I think he's going to be a great board chair. I think he and President Ambar are going to be a great team together, and so we're very excited to have him taking over this important role for the college. In terms of the senior staff here at Oberlin, and it's my pleasure to be a member of that group, we're having a number of transitions as well. I think some of you may know that Deborah Schermonti, who was the Dean of Admissions for 28 years, who may have admitted many of you into the college, she retired this past June, and the college has found a new dean. His name is Manuel Caballo. I believe he'll be speaking with you if he hasn't already. Manuel and his family are coming to us from Middlebury College, where he served for many years as the Director of Admissions. So we're very pleased to have him coming on board. In addition, Mike Franzen, who for the last 3 years has been our Vice President for Finance and Administration, has left Oberlin to become the President of Wittenberg University. Alan Norton is taking over his role on an interim basis, and so we're pleased that Alan is here, and a search for the next Vice President of Finance and Administration will be underway shortly. In addition, Sandhya Subramanian, who had been the General Counsel, left for another position at Dartmouth College, and Danica Varner is currently serving as General Counsel, again on an interim basis. In terms of development and alumni affairs, we are in our 2nd year following the close of the Oberlin Illuminate campaign, which ended in June of 2016. So we are sort of transitioning between campaigns. The arrival of a new president is often considered the harbinger of the next campaign, and I think that will certainly be the case for us. Those of you who may be suffering from a little campaign fatigue, I think you don't have to worry that we'll be moving too quickly on this, but we will be spending the next few years doing some planning, doing some early fundraising, getting us positioned for the public phase of the next campaign, which we hope will launch publicly around 2022 or 2023. So something to be thinking about as we look to the future. In terms of our ongoing fundraising efforts, we had a very good year in fiscal 2017 that ended this past June. We raised over $33 million. That broke down into 3 sort of big buckets. We added $11.3 million to the endowment this past year. $11 million of what we raised was actually spent in that year for current operations. And we also took in about $8.8 million for the various capital projects that are going on at the college. It was a very good year. We are grateful for everybody's hard work and for their generosity. When I look back on the last year, I would have to say that the most exciting 24 hours for me was April 27th, when we launched our first ever 24-hour giving campaign, All In for Oberlin. And I'm sure that many of you participated in that effort, and I just want to thank you for all your hard work in making that a success. I think the things that really stand out for me about All In for Oberlin was, first of all, the fact that we had hoped to get 1,500 donors in that 24-hour period, and we got 2,950. That was an amazing turnout, an amazing participation. The thing that's really exciting about that is what it meant in terms of our students and young alumni. Of the four classes with the highest, most participation on that day were our four student classes, the classes of 17, 18, 19, and 20. And so that was quite an achievement, something we weren't sure we were going to see, and so it felt very good to see how well the students responded and reacted to that. So I want to thank Connie Skingle, who is our director of the annual fund, Danielle Young, and the people on their teams and all the volunteers who made this so successful. I also want to thank and acknowledge Chris Canavan, our new board chair, who gave $200,000 as a challenge to stimulate giving, and in fact we raised over $628,000 that day. So that was another example of results that we didn't anticipate, but we're very excited about, feel very grateful for, and I think we can all anticipate another day of giving in the coming year. So I think that about wraps up the things that I wanted to share with you. I just want to thank you again for your support, for your involvement, for being part of this volunteer summit. We're excited to have President Ambar on board. We are in the process of planning to take her on the road. We'll be going to about at least 10 cities here in the fall and over winter term. I know that she is excited to get out on the road to meet all of you. I think you're going to be very pleased to hear her and to engage with her around her thoughts and her thinking, her vision for the future of the college. So there's a lot going on, a lot to look forward to. Thank you again, and all the best in the coming year.
Hello, Oberlin Annual Fund and Alumni Relations volunteers. I am Connie Skingle, the director of the Oberlin Annual Fund, and I'm going to take about 10 minutes today to talk about the results we had last year in the Annual Fund, update you on some small changes we're making, and also give you the date for All In for Oberlin so you can mark your calendars. First and foremost, I'd like to start by saying thank you. Last year we had a record-setting year in the Annual Fund. We attained $6,932,504. This was up from $6,819,316 the prior fiscal year, and this was the highest annual fund year in history. So congratulations, and thank you so much for all of the work that you put in to helping us achieve this accomplishment. We have nearly 400 volunteers who serve the Oberlin Annual Fund, and we in the Annual Fund are so grateful to have you as our partners. We want to thank you for serving your alma mater in this very important way. Of the $6.9 million raised last year, $3.5 million, over half, came in with no strings attached. It was unrestricted, meaning the college and conservatory can use it where there's the greatest need. This is the most impactful type of gift, one given with no restrictions. It enables the college to meet the most pressing financial needs that arise throughout the course of an academic year. Most annual giving, nearly 90 cents of every unrestricted dollar donated, supports student scholarships and financial aid. This helps make an Oberlin education possible for those who could otherwise not afford it. Additionally, I am pleased to share that over $400,000 was raised specifically for current use scholarships through the Annual Fund. This will help the college and conservatory address their most pressing priority, meeting 100% of each student's demonstrated financial need. Thank you again for helping to make this possible. Some of this success was due to a new initiative we launched last year, All In for Oberlin. We raised nearly $600,000 in one day from nearly 3,000 donors. I wish you could have all been there with us that day to feel the excitement in the air as we realized we were going to exceed our goals beyond our wildest imagination. It was so fun and frankly completely exhausting, but we can't wait to do it again next year, and we hope you're looking forward to it too. Annual fund initiatives like All In for Oberlin demonstrate the power of collective giving, and this is what is so remarkable about the Annual Fund. Every gift matters. Last year we had 9,952 alumni donors who made a gift. Some of those gifts were very modest, some of them were very large, but all of them were genuinely appreciated, and they made a difference. They add up. And unlike making a gift to a building project or an endowed fund, which are oriented to the future, gifts to the annual fund are used immediately and have a direct impact on Oberlin students and faculty. The work that you do as Oberlin Annual Fund volunteers is so meaningful. I know this may not always be completely visible to you, but please know that you are doing important, useful work. You are making a difference in the lives of Oberlin students, even if you never get to see that impact directly. Your efforts are certainly noticed here. This year, we are going to make a small change to the annual fund, which may or may not be noticed by the alumni you contact. In order to better serve the college and conservatory's needs, we are restructuring the annual fund somewhat. Historically, the annual fund has been made up of a large number of funds. These all counted to the annual fund. There were many, many funds that counted, around 300. Having this many funds in the annual fund was making it difficult to get accurate reports, to forecast, and to strategize around annual fund growth. The pot was simply too big. Additionally, we found that although we achieved significant annual fund results, such as raising $6.8 million in fiscal year 2016, we didn't meet the college's most pressing needs by raising enough of that unrestricted and scholarship funding that fully supports our students. In other words, we were raising more money than ever, but still missing important targets that help keep Oberlin strong and accessible. To address these challenges, we are shrinking the annual fund pot just a bit this year. We are going to focus on 5 primary funds that will help ensure that we are meeting students' financial aid needs. These 5 funds are general operations, the gifts that come in with no strings attached. The Parents Fund also comes in with no strings attached, but these are gifts from our parents. Oberlin Scholarship Support, gifts that provide scholarship resources to any student. Oberlin College Scholarship Support, gifts that provide scholarship support to our College of Arts and Sciences students. And Oberlin Conservatory of Music Scholarship Support, which provides scholarship support to our conservatory students. It is important to note that the other 295 funds are not going away. Alumni can still make gifts to any academic department, to athletics, to the library, to the Allen, anywhere they want. These gifts will all be received and will all count to that important alumni participation effort. We are simply shrinking the annual fund reporting structure to include only those funds which are meeting the most pressing financial needs of the college at this point in our history. This will help the annual fund team and the Division of Development as a whole be sure we are completely focused on meeting the college and conservatory's budgetary requirements. We hope that by focusing on these funds, we will be able to grow scholarship and unrestricted revenue. It is so important that we increase support in these areas for the overall financial health of the institution and the college's ability to meet the financial aid demands of today's students. Again, I want to emphasize that from the alumni perspective, nothing is really changing. All alumni gifts are still appreciated and still count towards alumni participation. We are simply changing our internal reporting on the annual fund to help us focus our efforts on the most pressing needs of the college. These changes actually take the annual fund back to its original structure at its founding. When Oberlin alumni created the annual fund, they intended to leverage the power of collective giving to support Oberlin College and its students. We are just now refocusing on that original intent. Additionally, as we kick off this academic year, we're going to focus on strengthening our ambassador teams. We could really use your help with this. Last year was our first year of trying out this new model, and we have been so encouraged by the interaction between volunteers and with volunteers and the staff liaisons. You have done really great work together. We recognize, however, that not all ambassador teams have enough members to do the work that needs to be done. So we have been recruiting from our end, but I'd like to ask each of you today to think about some classmates who might want to be a part of this important and fun work. If you have any names of classmates, you can reach out to your staff liaison. They'll be happy to reach out on your behalf, or you can contact your classmates directly. Lastly, we'd like to ask for your help with All In for Oberlin this year. This year's event is tentatively scheduled for Thursday, April 26, 2018. So please mark your calendars in pencil. It is tentative. Thursday, April 26, 2018. We will be in touch about ways you can participate and get involved. For now, though, think about setting up a challenge match for your classmates or one of your affinity groups, or signing up to be an advocate, or doing a personal plea that day. Or if you happen to be local, take the day off and come to campus with us. Last year's event was a smash hit, and we are going to need all the help we can get to make this year even bigger and better. Thank you so much again for all the work you do on behalf of Oberlin College. Your staff liaisons are always available. If you have any questions or concerns, you can reach out to us at any time. We are always happy to hear from you. I am going to step aside for now and let the annual fund team introduce themselves. That way you can put a face to the name. Each member of the team is going to take just a moment to speak, so those of you who are our annual fund volunteers will know who you've been working with. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Angie Maddox. I'm Assistant Director of the Oberlin Annual Fund. I work with John Frederick Oberlin Society donors, as well as alumni volunteers in the class years between 1970 and 1978.
Hi, my name is Jack Fissinger, and I'm the Assistant Director of Young Alumni and Undergraduate Philanthropy. I primarily work with students as I run our phoning program, our senior class gift program, and our undergraduate philanthropy program. I am also our liaison for our youngest alumni classes, which are the classes of 2011 through 2017.
Hi, my name is Sue Angel. I'm Oberlin College class of 99. I'm also the Associate Director of the Oberlin Annual Fund. I work with all the classes in the post-50th reunion decades. I also help out with all the direct mail and email programming in the office, and am the project manager for all the projects that we do that are solicitations.
Hi, my name is Dave Stonebaker Martinez, and I am an Assistant Director with the Oberlin Annual Fund. My primary focus is volunteer management with our Ambassador Team program, and I work with class years 1979 through 1991 and 1996 through 2010. I also spend my time with our crowdfunding platform, working with faculty, staff, and alumni to create crowdfunding initiatives to help support the annual fund. I'm really looking forward to working with all of you this year.
We have had a busy summer, and a word that comes to mind that represents our work is transformational. Hi, I'm Lori Young, Director of the Career Development Center, and I'm grateful to share the transformations we've made, those underway, and maybe even touch on what we hope for the future. The college's strategic plan calls for us to guide students and young alumni to more intentionally set the stage for their professional journeys. While our work in the Career Development Center plays a big role in this effort, we're grateful for the role you as alumni volunteers play in this guidance as well. I wanted to take this opportunity to update all of you on several priorities we put in place at the beginning of the summer to move our work in the direction it needs to go for our students and alumni. The highest priorities have been to 1. Rebrand the office and increase our marketing. 2. Update our digital interface. 3. Integrate career education into classes and student experiences. And where you all come in is to make it easy for students to connect to the alumni network. So first, with rebranding and marketing, our biggest accomplishment is that we've changed our name from the Career Center to the Career Development Center. I want to thank Peter McElhenney and members of the Careers Committee for helping us generate possibilities for new names and provide feedback on the ones under consideration. Second, we know technology is where students spend most of their time, and we needed to update our digital interface. We launched a new career management platform called Handshake that replaces OBOps. This new interface promises greater student engagement, content, and opportunities. With Handshake, students can discover jobs and internships with over 200,000 employers, and this is all based on their profile and the interests they enter in the system. They can also use Handshake to request an appointment with a career advisor, access Oberlin's career development resources, and learn about upcoming events. This new system makes it so much easier for students to access what they need whenever they need it. Third, we can't always wait for students to come to us, so we're proactively finding ways to integrate career development into the student experience. We need to be where they are, in the classroom, in the residence halls, and where they meet for things they engage in outside of class. We developed a career education curriculum for faculty, staff, and student groups to request career education programs. These programs range from topics like Explore Your Interests, targeted for those students who want to narrow their focus a bit, to Tell Your Story, for those students ready to communicate all of the highlights of their education and experience in their resumes, cover letters, and interviews. Lastly, we need to make it so easy to connect students to the Alumni Network. Many of you have already signed up to be an advisor in our new platform called Wiser. In fact, over 1,500 alumni and parent volunteers have completed profiles and are ready to respond to students who request career conversations. We are thrilled with the alumni response, and now that the students are back, we have a marketing campaign underway to get students excited about it too. Now we can refer them to experts to gain advice from alumni in the careers and industries they want to explore. While they want the advice, they don't always know how to reach out. Wiser solves that problem with an easy interface for students to identify alumni by industry, career, and geographic region, and request a conversation in just a matter of minutes. We did a needs assessment in the spring of 2016. And one significant gap we found was that students and recent alumni were not prepared to make contact with alumni and employers from their major. In fact, only 10.8% of current students and 7.2% of recent alumni felt prepared to reach out to alumni. We have a lot of room for improvement, and we are in good shape with Wiser to shift these percentages significantly. I'd like to share how to sign up for Wiser and some tips to help make reaching out to alumni less scary for students. Yes, most of them are a little intimidated to reach out to all of you. We do our best to ease that fear by telling them that you, the alums in Wiser, signed up voluntarily and want to talk to them. If you haven't already signed up for Wiser, it's very easy. It takes less than 5 minutes to set up your profile. It's even easier if you have a LinkedIn account, which you can use to import most of your profile information. Some tips for you to help students as they are searching profiles would be to include your photo, especially one with a friendly smile or one that helps them to identify what you do. And to select as many industries where you have knowledge and experience. So, for example, if you have a community engagement role as a board or a committee member in a certain industry, say like education, but you work professionally in technology, I recommend selecting both education and technology industries. I also have some tips for when you start to get requests from students to set up a phone conversation. First, please respond as soon as you can. If students muster up enough courage to reach out and they don't get a response, they lose confidence. Please respond. Even if you have to say that you can't connect for a few weeks, let them know you've received their request. Second, start the conversation with some intake questions to help you know what they need. Easy questions like, how can I be most helpful to you? Then, once you know what they need and how you can be helpful, you can share your advice, stories, experience, life learning, and hopefully some tips to help keep moving them along. With Wiser, you can also let us know how the conversation went and if the student needs a little help from one of us. After the conversation, you get to provide feedback that will only be seen by Oberlin staff. It is intended so you can let us know how things went, and we will certainly follow up with students based on your suggestions. We are all in this effort together, and we are so grateful to have such a strong alumni base of support that our students can access within minutes using Wiser. If we've been successful, we anticipate that 1, students will be aware of the options available to them and they have direction. 2, students will be ready and prepared to be competitive for opportunities related to their goals. 3, students will be prepared to navigate their professional journeys with well-developed career management skills like building a network and articulating their value. And lastly, we hope to see students see the value of a liberal arts education as part of their postgraduate plans. We also aspire to see that recent alums have made successful transitions into their first destination experience, that they're prepared to navigate their early career transitions, and that alumni see their alma mater as a resource for professional development in the first few years after graduation and well beyond. We want alumni to feel like they're well networked within their chosen career fields, and They are also eager to pay it forward, and the percentage of alumni engaged in supporting students through career advice, internships, and job placements represents the largest segment of our volunteer base. We have a great start, and the momentum is building to take us on a journey where Oberlin College is a leader among selective liberal arts colleges in career development. Thank you for being a part of the journey as alumni volunteers. We can't be successful without you.
Hello everyone, my name is Manuel Carvalho. I'm the new Vice President and Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid. This is about my second week on campus here at Oberlin, and I'm very excited for this new opportunity. Most recently, I'm coming from 12 years in the admissions office at Middlebury College in Vermont. I am a Swarthmore grad, so I've enjoyed working in these small liberal arts settings. Very excited to join Oberlin because of its commitment to social justice, that commitment to the liberal arts, and the opportunity to work with really wonderful, passionate students. I'm joined on campus by my wife, who will be working in a Dean of Students office, and we have a 4-year-old son who absolutely loves elevators, and we're excited to all be on campus here at Oberlin. So I wanted to talk a little bit about opportunities that you could help us out in the admissions office. And so there's a couple of ways to certainly spread the word out. First and foremost, if you could just be absolutely positive about Oberlin and your experience and talk about what a great place this is, that goes a long way. We hope that you're talking to friends and just when you're out, talk about what a great experience you've had. You are the products of an Oberlin education, and so we always want to have that. There are some concrete ways that you can be a volunteer and work with us here at the admissions office. One certainly is that we interview rising seniors throughout the process, and so if you are willing to sit down with one of our students applying and considering the institution and be positive about your experience, then we would love for you to get a chance to do that. You can do that in person at a local coffee shop, or you can also help us through our interviewing process on Skype. And so you can reach out to some of our international students or students from further out, or if you're in a place where we maybe aren't getting a ton of students, aside from recruiting kids from those areas, also getting a chance to do that as well. So that's a wonderful opportunity to do that. Throughout the fall, we also host fall previews, and these are information sessions that we have in some of our major markets, where we will basically have an information session for parents and students who are interested. And those typically have a Q&A session at the end where we invite alumni to talk about their experience and talk about Oberlin as they experienced it. And that makes it a little bit more personal, and that's something that certainly folks have enjoyed doing over the years. We also can't make all the college fairs that high schools have across the country and across the world. So if you're interested in joining our efforts, the best way to do that would be to sign up on our website. Josh Levy in the admissions office leads our efforts. But if you go to www.oberlin.edu/ARN, that is where you can sign up and help us with our efforts. We thank you for all that you do. We hope that you will spread the word and be positive about your Oberlin experience with everyone. And I look forward to meeting you in the future, and thank you for all you do.
Hey everyone, I'm Carol Levine, class of '84, and I am the president-elect of the Alumni Association. Woohoo! I'm also having a reunion this year coming up, class of '84, so it's the '82, '83, '84. I am personally invested in the success of this, and I hope that all of you have had the most wonderful interactive experience, even though it's been a virtual event. We are so curious to know what the experience was like for you, and there will be a survey forthcoming after this where we will solicit your feedback. Please be sure to complete it so that we can do even better next time. The last thing that I want to say really as we close is that you are so valued. You are the most essential part of everything that we do. Our volunteers are worth everything. And we appreciate the time, the energy, the focus, and just, you know, the enjoyment and the love that you share with the community. So thank you so much for your work, and thank you for being a part of the Oberlin family forever.
I
I'm so excited to have the opportunity to talk to Oberlin volunteers. I absolutely know that we cannot do what we need to do for this institution without dedicated, committed volunteers. And so I want to thank you for all the things you do for Oberlin and all the things you will do for Oberlin. So let me tell you what I've been doing. I've been on campus now for about 2 weeks. The triplets are here, my husband's here. We've had a chance to go to the FEV and to go to the ice cream shop, to run around Tappan Square. And I have to say the triplets have said to me many, many times, we love Oberlin. What we are going to be doing this year, as I sort of have this inaugural year to kind of get a sense of the place, frankly, is that we were going to get engaged across campus. I'm going to be having many meetings with academic departments. I want to open up the residence a bit. We're going to have open office hours, really just for me to understand what it means to be an OB. We're going to spend the next part of our time thinking about our strategic plan and really pulling out those initiatives that have the most ability to move the college forward. And many of them really involve alumni. So when you get the messages out there about mentoring students, I want you to take that to heart, get yourself signed up, because when Oberlin students get engaged with Oberlin alumni, they see the world differently. They see what the possibilities are differently, and they know that they can go out and change the world for good. We're going to be thinking about diversity and inclusion and making sure that that conversation that we've been having over the course of the last few years is really a dialogue. It's really a way for us to hear different perspectives and engage with each other in different ways. And of course, the next thing we're going to be doing is thinking about enrollment and retention and making sure that we know for a fact that students who think about Oberlin understand our core purpose, understand our mission, and choose us because of the work that we do. And finally, maybe more excitingly for me, I will be getting out and about to meet Oberlin alumni. So the goal is to go to 9 major cities across the country and across the world, and to hear from you about your vision and aspiration for this institution. And so when you get that invitation, I want you to put it in your calendar, because I can't do what I need to do for this college if I don't understand your perspective and understand what's important to you. Here's what I know. The Oberlin mission, academic excellence, social justice, is more relevant today than it's ever been. And part of our work together is going to be making sure that that mission is here for years and years to come. And I can't do it without you. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Emma Adamite. I'm from Hartford, Connecticut. I'm a 4th year at Oberlin, and I'm a jazz performance major.
Hey, I'm Michael Ornstein. I'm a 5th year here at Oberlin. I study economics as well as jazz piano, and I'm originally from Berkeley, California.
Hi, I'm Ricardo Guerra. I'm from Miami, Florida, and I'm a 3rd year here at Oberlin studying jazz percussion.
Thank you.